Ooh, that's not good. So this is the phone mount that I use on my tripod all the time to record my videos, and it broke. It's a very inexpensive thing, but we could actually design and make the new part. We only need to design and print out this back bracket piece. This is the part that actually mounts to the tripod. That's where it's all cracked. And these can actually just be pressed into 3D prints made out of PLA using a soldering iron. And I'm going to show you guys how to design it. This is the final product that we're going to be working towards today. We're designing this in onshape, which is a free open source software that you guys can use on your computer at home. Now that we're loaded up in onshape, let's go ahead and start making our new phone mount. Go ahead and click sketch at the top left of the screen, select a plane to sketch on, and now we're going to start by creating a rectangle. So click rectangle up here in the top left, and then select anywhere to start your rectangle, drag it out, click again to confirm that rectangle, and then you're going to want to pick your dimensions. So just click the dimension tool, it looks like this. And then you can select an edge, drag out, click again, and you can put in a custom measurement. You're going to need a set of calipers or something to get pretty good measurements so that we can be as accurate as possible when designing this. So for mine in particular, I've made it 50 by 30 millimeters and left it at that. Next, what we'll want to do is extrude it. And I'm making mine about 7 millimeters thick, which is really close to what my actual phone mount is. The next part is to make the hole for the screw inset. This is where the bracket will actually attach to the tripod. To make any circle, all you have to do is go ahead and sketch on your surface, and then once you're into a sketch mode, come up here to the top left and hit circle, click anywhere on it. You're going to left click, drag it out, and then left click again to confirm it. From there, you can add all kinds of dimensions, like the actual radius of the circle. We can use certain dimensions on the center point, like here, and all this does is ensure that this is positioned exactly where we want it. And then we're also going to extrude it, but we're going to be doing something different here. Instead of actually adding to the sketch or the actual object, we're going to be removing. So here is our box that's extruded out, and then this is the circle we just sketched. We're going to want to draw that through by coming over here and clicking remove. It almost always sends it in the opposite direction, and that's fine for our cause now. You can just leave it at 25 millimeters because we're not going to be putting anything on the other side of our object. On the top of our rectangle, you can see where our circle sketch will reside, but now we're going to add a sketch of a rectangle. We're just going to make it the width of our rectangle, but we're going to set it to a thickness of 3 millimeters. Now this is the part where the arm attaches to hold our phone. So take the measurements of this piece, and that's how much we're going to extrude it. The thickness of the plastic is really up to you, but I'll show you a neat trick to keep it thin at the top and thicker at the bottom. Once we're in the extrude menu of our little rectangle here, we're going to go ahead and set it to 90 millimeters because that's how tall mine is. So once you hit 90, you're just going to make sure that it's going in the up direction and then hit accept. Now this is the part that's going to be really fun. You can use fills for just about anything, like rounding off corners to make them more aesthetic or just not sharp. You can also add thickness to a structural part, like here. Normally this would be exactly 3 millimeters wide and connect here, and that would make it really weak at this point. And you can see from the original sketch to the fillet that we've added, there's a substantial amount more plastic that's going to be here now, and this will add some extra strength. To make this completely rounded circle like the actual phone mount that I have, I've just made sure that the fillet is the exact value of the width of our rectangle. Now we're going to be positioning the hole for the other screw that attaches the phone mount to the phone holder. I just kind of eyeballed in the center of where this needed to go and didn't really add a whole lot of dimension because this isn't super imperative. What is imperative is the actual dimension of the hole itself. A radius of 6.5 is a nice, snug, but movable fit for the screw to slide through. The second circle that I drew, I just centered out from this point and added a radius of 20. Now there is an extra circle on the back of my phone mount, and this is to give the knob something to kind of grab onto once the screw is already through the mount. I extruded this out just a couple millimeters because, like I said, it's just to add a little bit of plastic for the knob to grab onto. I then added a 1.5 millimeter fillet just to round this out and make it smooth. Flipping over to the other side, we need to add some more circles. Here is the circle from the other side of the mount. This is the hole that goes all the way through. Now we need to make 2 circles so that we can make a ring. So we add this first one that is 12 millimeters in diameter, and then we add one of 18 millimeters in diameter. We now have the ability to extrude this circle out over top our other 2 circles. The first circle being the screw hole that will come all the way through the mount, and then this second circle to complete the inner wall of the ring. But for now, we're just going to extrude it as one solid cylinder. Selecting our inner ring sketch is going to allow us to extrude and remove. Again, you can leave this at 25 millimeters, just ensure that it's coming this way. And finally, for this part, we're going to be adding the actual screw hole. Now for this one, we're doing an extrude, leave it at 25, and remove, and make sure it's going the opposite way because we do want this one going all the way through the mount. Okay, now comes kind of a tricky part where a lot of people would think they couldn't actually make this on their own. There are about 16 teeth that go around this circle, and this helps interlocking to lock the phone mount in place. So what I've done is added a sketch on our ring face. Then I've gone ahead and dragged out a rectangle and added it here. Now I've set some dimensions of 1.5 millimeters wide and 3 millimeters tall. This was kind of a guesstimation with a well-rounded number, and it actually ended up working really well. Now we have to extrude this, and we know how to do that, but the next part is what's going to be a little scary for some people. I went ahead and extruded this single rectangle out to 0.5 millimeter. So now that we have our single rectangle, how do we get them going all the way around and make it symmetrical? In the top right corner, hit Search Tools, then type in Circle until you see Circular Pattern, and you're going to want to click that. Once you open Circular Pattern, you're going to want to get off of Part Pattern and click Feature Pattern. This will show up in the drop-down menu up here. Now, once you have Feature Pattern selected, you're going to want to select that extrusion we just did of that rectangle. So once you click that, it should show up here, in this case, Extrude 8. For the axis of your pattern, you can actually click a lot of things, and it really isn't too specific on, what you have to click. You can click actual axes that you can put in here, but for me, all I did was click this circle, and that worked fine. For our angle, we want a full circle, so 360 degrees, and typically it will put you at 4 to start off with. So this is probably what it'll look like. But as you know, I went ahead and counted, and there are in fact 16 teeth. So we're going to put in a value of 16 here. And you can see it generates all 16 teeth all the way around. Once you've done that, you can see that your part is looking really, really good. The only thing left to do here is to select your part, right-click, and export. Now you can export this to any folder on your computer and bring it up into any slicer software that you want. Everything should be put into millimeters and will be accurate to how you designed it. So you don't need to do any scaling once you get to your slicer. I know that this was kind of a long video, but I kind of wanted to get rid of some of the stigma around practical designing and printing. It can be a lot of fun, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You just have to learn all your tools. Even I learn different tools every day, and it helps me do a better job at designing things, especially when it comes to practical uses. I'll see you guys in the next video.